Hello everyone, my name is eDogs and welcome back to the review channel. The title of this video is called The Next 5 Masterpiece Transformers. In this video we're going to look at the Beast Wars characters as a whole to see if I can pick out a character that should be a masterpiece. So we're going to do two versions of this. The first version is going to be just the core cast of the show, which is season 1, and then season 2 will be the transmetal portion of those characters. Now I do have my trusty book here, which is the unofficial guide to Transformers from 1980 through 1990. It's made by J.E. Alvarez. You can probably find this book somewhere. There's 3 types of books. You have the G1 book, you have the Japanese book, and then you have a masterpiece book somewhere around. That book does need to be updated. I do not have that in hand, but it's out there, so at least. So what we're going to do is we're going to subject each character as we go, and we're just going to see if we can find a character that should be next. So we're going to start with the Predacons first. So the first character I'm going to bring in is Scorpionite. Now, Scorpionite is a okay to good character in the show. His inventions do take some points away from him, but he did a lot of stuff. He rescued Megatron a bunch of times in the show, and he is second in command to him. Now, as a masterpiece figure, it's going to be much larger than this. And this figure right here is just way too short. Even in the Kingdom line, he's short. He's just way too short. Now if you were to go search, like, scale wise, he's no taller. He's a little bit taller than Cheetor, let's say, a little bit taller than that. But in the show, it throws it off because in the show they seem to be a little bit taller than what they have drawn down. So let's put him down here. I'm going to give you a comparison. The only comparison I have is Transmetal Prime. Right? He's way shorter than him. And there are some people who are using this as a substitute for the Transmetal figure. So you can see how tall he comes in. Now, the other thing I want to point out is the transformation. Now, the only gripe I have is the legs. So if they can figure out how to make the legs disappear in the alt mode, that'd be fine. If it ends up looking like let's say Dinobot, where the rear of the thighs, like the upper thighs are still showing, but the lower thighs disappear, then that'd be okay. And second, we can have a movable tail. So instead of having 1 pin here, maybe we can have 3 pins in the tail, so we can actually move it around and such. So there he is. That's Scorpionite in a hole. Now we're gonna leave him over here just in case. Next is Waspinator. Primo's acting up. Next is Primo. I'm sorry, Waspinator. Waspinator is a great character in the show. He has a running gimmick in the show as well. I don't think he was meant to be the comic relief, but he did end up that way. He's the second flyer in his in the group, and I also found out that he is not even in the show Siege. He's not even in Siege. I don't want to ruin it all. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but he was in. There was some talks of him being in Siege or something like that. So there's no spoilers in this video, by the way. So yeah, I wouldn't mind having this next. We can have two versions of Waspinator. The second version will be a character called Buzzsaw. So just give you a really quick look at that. Let me just get my book. And we're just gonna flip a couple of pages until we find it. All right, so on this side we have Waspinator, which the top half is a darker green. We have the yellow and black pattern towards the back, where we have this character here. His name is Buzzsaw, and he's all yellow with the black stripes towards the back, and the wings are like a green, like an emerald green type of color. So you can have two different colors of that, if you so choose. Now, how big is this figure as a masterpiece? Well, he's taller than Scorpionites, so that will be, a really interesting, pick. Will they do the gimmick where you can take the arms off of here and just kind of pull them in a pile? I don't think they would do that for a masterpiece, but it's an option. Last but not least, I don't have a Tarantulas. So we're going to use Black Arachnia for an example. Now, if you had bought the Buzzworthy 4-pack, there's a original redeco color of her. And she has that version of the toy has the same colors as Tarantulas to me. And it also has the faceplate as Tarantulas. So we could get a Tarantulas. It would be surprising to me. I don't think that will be next up, but he's a very important character in the show. I do not have a picture of the original Tarantulas. I only have the Transmetal version, which we'll talk about later. So we're just going to space this out a little bit. But he is an intriguing character. He does a lot of work in that show. Not to say the other characters weren't, but he did a lot. He did a lot. Two more characters, and then we'll move on to the Maximals. As of right now, they are making a brand new pterosaur for the Transformers Legacy line. So Kingdom is slowly going to be put into Legacy. And we're still going to get the rest of the characters. Also, Tarantulas was also mentioned somewhere like months away, like so many months away, that Tarantulas was going to be in the same set as well. So the problem with him as a masterpiece is that it's going to cause an uproar with the fans, because he is a pterosaur. Pterosaur is a pterodactyl. Just came to my mind. He's a pterodactyl, and people probably get upset with the fact that they made a masterpiece version of Pterosaur where they could have just made a G1 version of Swoop. Now, they don't have anything in common, but other than being a pterodactyl, that's going to cause some problems. Why him? Why now? But he should be next, because he's the second tallest character next to Masterpiece Megatron in that line. Who else? I think who else is in there? It'll come to me. But anyway, On another note, he's also not in this Siege story. Pterosaur and Tarantulas are not in that story. And Waspinator. Those are not in the story as well. So we could get either one of these. They are all good picks. And it's very hard to pick one myself because everybody's fan's favorite might be Waspinator. But then, you know, you have Tarantulas in the background, you know, doing his thing. Now, for the Maximals, it's going to get really interesting. First, we have Rat Trap. This is the Chug Rat Trap that came out maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Maybe. I might be wrong. And this is suitable for the Masterpiece Primo. You could transform this, and I think there's a peg of some sort, and you can peg this on his back. So like he's flying through the air in his flying mode, if you will. And if we get another one in this, as a Masterpiece, fine. They would have to get rid of all of this junk back here to make it more cleaner. That's, you know, that's first. And two, we might just skip over this. They, you know, since it's already here, you don't really need to get another one. But he's still a contender of getting a Masterpiece figure. So we can just stick that right here. You can kind of get a scale of where he's at there. Now, our next contender is Rhinos. If it wasn't for Rhinos, the Maximals probably would have lost in season 2. I would say right up into season 2, they would have lost. The Transmetal portion probably would have still happened. Leadership of the Maximals will probably turn over to Dinobot, probably. And I can go on and on and speculate how that would go down. Now this is very loose. You see me playing with it, very loose. They should have been on ratchet joints, to tell you honestly. But yeah. Now if we do go with this, that means we would have completed the core class of the Maximal lineup. The only person that's missing is Air Razor in the back. We'll get there in a second. But yeah, a giant size Rhino will be cool to have. Plus, we can get the gimmick back. You know, the spinning gimmick of the guns. And, you know, you just press a lever and, you know, you have that spring action loaded type of thing here. Maybe we can have it talking, you know, never know. Maybe we can have a much more posability where he's like meditating or something. Kind of put that in a box or that type of thing. Yeah, so he's a strong contender in itself, just by himself. Last but not least is somebody who just came out recently in Hasbro Pulse, and that will be Ravage. Now this is the old exclusive DX9, I think the designation is for it, of Ravage. Now I already put in an order for the new one, so you're going to see this again in another video. We're going to do a comparison and all of that good stuff. If you already bought this, then, you know, why not? Why? They already done 2 cat-like creatures already. They've done a leopard, which is Cheetor. They've done a tiger, which is Tigertron. And then we have Ravage. He's either which is a puma or, you know, type of animal. Is he larger than Tigertron? I really don't know. But he's a strong contender as well. And you can see my dilemma in this video. So as a core to pick somebody from a core class is difficult comparing to Optimus Prime. I mean, not Optimus Prime, you know what I mean, Primo. Now, let's get Airazor in here for real quick. Airazor came in late in the game. Very nice figure. She should be the same height as Black Arachnia. As a bird, we don't know. I think she turns into some type of a hawk or something. I'm not exactly sure. I should have looked it up before I even did this video. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, she would be a good contender too. But she will probably be like late game, in the show. Now, to pick one is very difficult. Primo doesn't understand. Now, if I had to choose, I would be saying Rhinos. If I had to choose, this would be my like go-to character as the next character. This way we can fill out the core class, and the only character left will be Airazor. That would be the easier way of doing it. But if I had to pick somebody from the Predacon side, it's more difficult because you have Tarantulas, you have Pterosaur, you have Waspinator. All of these guys are really good in the show. So you can see my like, you know, real, it's a real question mark. So if you have any ideas of who should be next, please leave it in the comments below. I'm going to decide a little later on in the video. Now, let's include Transmetals for a second. Now, in the Transmetal lineup, even though he's not a Transmetal, we're going to start with Inferno, which is a fire ant, giant fire ant. And there's two versions of him. We can have him, or we can have the Transmetal version named Scavenger. And all they did was they make the abdomen silver. Some of his like some of his silver parts are like the limbs. His limbs are silver, and like the front portion of his body is silver. And he's supposed to be like a Transmetal type of character. I don't know too much about him, pretty much, but we could get both of them in one go. You can have the option, either have the regular, you can have him as a Transmetal. Next will be Rampage. Rampage is my favorite in that lineup. Who doesn't want a cat? Who really doesn't want a crab that turns into a tank? Who doesn't want that? I do. I know I want that. Tell you honestly, it had the gimmick with the gun where you just spring load it. It was a spring loaded gun. You press back, it would shoot a projectile and rotate at the same time. You do it again, you shoot all the projectiles and stuff. And then it had the treads of a tank, which you had to rub around and stuff. My copy fell off a shelf and he broke his left leg or something like that, because they were making the legs very thin. I mean, Rampage leg was like as skinny as this part right here towards the bottom to his feet. That's how skinny his legs was. But everything else was like big, you know, like how, you know, that's not even anatomically correct, and, you know, but I did like that figure a lot. After him, you have Death Charge. Death Charge is a pretty good character as well. You know, there's a lot of scenes where he changed into his ult mode, and, you know, you got Rat Trap sitting on his back, rowing down the stream in that one episode. There's an episode where he's flying on his back. You know, you know the usual case. You know the thing that Rat Trap does. And who else? I think the only characters that are left are the Fusers. I don't know. Silverbolt and Quick Strike. Those two are a weird bunch. I think Quick Strike will probably be sooner than later. Quick Strike will probably be like last, but he's a good character. You know, he's a very good fleshed out character. To tell you honestly, you know, he had that Western talk. You know, he thought he was a cowboy, even though he was a combination of a cobra and the hell he was. Was he? He was a cobra and something else. I can't remember. And last but not least, we have Tiger Hawk. Tiger Hawk is the combination of Tigatron and Airraiser combined together. I also had that once upon a time. The problem with that figure was one side of the wing wasn't working. The gimmick wasn't really good because the guns had to flip up, kind of a deal. So that's he will probably be last. To honestly, Tiger Hawk will probably be last. He would be important though. He's important. You can have those two little energy ghost things that flew around and stuff. What did they call it? The Nox or the Crocs or some shit like that. I don't know. Yeah, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. Now, as another thing, Transmetal, they have hinted as Megatron being the first Transmetal figure because he's already set up to go. They just have to, you know, change up a couple of things and such like that. I haven't heard anything about Primo over there in the right hand corner just yet, but he can't be too far, you know. So Megatron will be first, and then Primo will probably be second. The other character will be Optimal Optimus. We could get a new one, or we can go back and get the Combiner Wars version of Optimus, you know, and have him as a stand-in. Maybe you still have your original stuff, and you know you want to mix and match and stuff like that. That will work. That could work too. So yeah, we're also getting the Dragon version of Megatron in Transformers Legacy. If I'm not correct or not. So it's time to choose who will be next. Now my go-to will be obviously be Rhinos to be next, so we can complete the core cast of the Maximals. But if I had to surprise everybody, they could do the same thing with the cats, and Ravage will probably be next and have all the cats done and then move over to the Predacons. But if I had to pick a Predacon, that's going to be a doozy. It's a really brain buster kind of a deal. I'm gonna have to go with Waspinator for my pick. But you never know. You never know. They could surprise us with they could surprise us all with a Tarantulas. You never know. Whoever is popular at one given moment is going to be that character. So I'm not saying that we have two good contenders between the two. It would be Rhinox and Ravage. But if they need Predacons. They need to make more Predacons, and Pterosaur is going to make people upset. That's what I'm saying. And if they want to avoid that, they will leave Pterosaur alone and probably narrow it down to either Tarantulas and Waspinator. So that is. My choice will be Waspinator, most definitely. If he pops up, I'm not mad at it. So I do hope you enjoy this video. I will be making another one, which is the final part 5 of this video, and I already know who I'm going to pick. We're going to bring everybody together. Plus, we're going to include the picks that are being talked about, tossed around the room, and you know, maybe they're sitting in a think tank, maybe there's drawings, you know, that type of thing. So I hope you enjoy this video. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comment section. I do reply to them. I like to hear what other people think. This is a suggestion video, you know, me just thinking out loud of who's the next person in. And I just want to say thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.